you know, there have been a lot of books, articles, magazine articles written about the Kentucky Education Reform Act of the 90s, and we kind of called that Kentucky lore. I think there'll be a lot of books, and there are already a lot of articles and a lot of things that document the Stimulus Act, the Race to the Top, and the No Child Left Behind waivers. And I hope when the book is written that Kentucky has a special chapter called the Kentucky Common Core lore, because we've learned a lot from the field of experience. And at the end of the day, Tom's right. If this hadn't made a difference in student learning and student outcomes, then we've spent a whole lot of time and effort without any results that matter. So we got to be real cognizant of that. Our foundation in Kentucky was legislative. We had legislation passed in 2009 that had no dissenting votes, unanimous. That doesn't happen very often. But that foundation was laid at that time, and it said we must do something about reducing college remediation rates and preparing students for the workplace of the future. It required new college career standards, new assessments, new accountability system, professional development support for teachers, and eventually teacher principal evaluation systems lined up with all that. So I was lucky. I had a mandate. Many states are not there. So I believed in this case, it really paid to be first. I had this legislative mandate. I didn't have to convince people with a burning platform, although we did talk quite a bit about the cost of remediation at our universities and two-year colleges. But I had the buy-in from all the educators right away because they knew we had the legislation. We pushed right ahead. We were the first to adopt Common Core. We were the first to implement Common Core in the fall of 2010. We were the first to assess Common Core in the spring of 2012. We were the first to develop an accountability system based on a Common Core. So everything was going smoothly until the President and the Secretary of Education took credit for Common Core. And then the national debate moved from a debate about the standards to a debate about federal intrusion in education. We were lucky again that we had established such a boots on the ground kind of effect. We had the Pritchard Committee working with parent organizations all across Kentucky. We had the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, whose president also serves on the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Education Committee and Board. We're going out all over Kentucky talking about what the Common Core meant for students, parents, and the business community. So we had a real groundswell of communication, and I think that's what got us through some of the tougher times. I think the number one thing, Dennis, teacher involvement. We knew to do this, we had to change what happens in the classroom. So from very early on, we pulled together over 1,300 math teachers, reading teachers, language arts teachers, building principals, special ed directors, central office curriculum people, superintendents. We pulled them together monthly in regional networks and said, here's what we have in the way of the Common Core. Translate this into what it means for children, what we expect kids to know and be able to do. I can statements. So they did that. Then they went back to their own school districts and developed full implementation plans on where to get the resources, how to teach in the classroom, how to support each other, where to get the professional development. And very early on, there wasn't a lot out there, so we had to develop a lot of this through our teacher organizations. My biggest recommendation, and I think it's been proven true, go slow on the teacher accountability piece. How can you expect to hold teachers accountable for an assessment that they haven't seen, they haven't taught, and they haven't been given the proper training and support, but yet we expect our teachers to be held accountable for that? We went very slowly, 3 years. We're still in the rollout phase next year. It won't count until 15, 16, and student scores are not weighted. They're just part of the professional conversation with the teacher principal. And we connected teacher, principal, superintendent evaluation. Finally, make sure you keep improving. We just announced a couple of weeks ago what we call the Kentucky Core Academic Challenge. This fall, we will roll out to our entire community. Number one, read the darn standards. Number two, if you got an edit or suggestion on the standards, put it down and we'll take it back through our revision cycle for curriculum. And three, comments like it's a data scanning, iris scanning process to control our children by aliens, we probably will not react to. Thank you. Keep up the good work.